the Lens Podcast. Down the Lens Podcast. Down the Lens Podcast.
You'll speak on this more than me, but like when you're editing videos, if you get distracted for 2 minutes, for me that leads to
it's like
20
2 hours.
minutes. Yeah. I can't get back into it.
Just literally just leave me be. I've changed from a desktop setup, I've gone to like a laptop setup, but sometimes I'll come down into the living room just to be by my missus, but I'll be in a zone, like noise cancelling headphones on, editing away, and then she'll like start talking to me, but I just can't come away from it. So I think to myself, as soon as I get this editing done, the sooner I can spend time with you. But like if you're talking to me while I'm doing the editing right now, I'm gonna therefore have less time with you later on, so you might as well just let me get on with it.
Yeah, and I'm not actually with you right now because I'm thinking about this.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not true. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm responding to you, but I'm going to forget what I've said.
Yeah. Right, hi mate, how are you?
Good, thanks, mate. Yeah, all good. What about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for coming on.
That's all right, mate. Been looking forward to it, to be honest. Since
You've had it in the diary for a while, have you?
I have, mate. I've been thinking, is he going to ask me? Is he not?
You've been waiting that long, have you?
Yeah, I've been like, fuck, he's got a podcast. He hasn't asked me yet. What's going on?
Well, yeah. Speaking about podcasts, you've done your fair bit in podcasting.
Yeah, mate. I've tried to anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? It's something I wanted to do for years before I started, but in like 2020 I was just thought myself, got myself a bit fitter, a bit healthier, felt a bit more confident, and thought like, if I don't do it now, I'm probably never going to do it. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to pull the trigger on things, haven't you?
Exactly. So you initially, when did you start? You had one podcast. Obviously, you're on another one now. But when did you start your first podcast?
I think it was like August 2020, something like that. Like just when we were like coming out of one wave of COVID, you start like seeing people. I started having guests on, things like that.
Nice.
I did a couple of Zoom ones.
Not the same.
I deleted them, mate. Didn't even put them out. I was like, oh, sorry.
Wasn't a fan of them.
No, I was like, sorry, the sound's gone. It's just never worked because it's just that vibe. Do you know what I mean? It just wasn't there. Like,
yeah, I get like that sometimes when you create content, but you don't feel like it's good enough to put out. But they always say you're your worst critique, so you just got to put it out anyway.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it, mate. You know, like that delay, like it was just awkward.
Okay.
And
between you and the guest rather than the actual work. Okay.
Yeah. It was awkward. Like, don't get me wrong, he was sound, but oh man, it was just so weird. Like,
the first episode of I done was just me waffling to camera just to get an episode done. I just wanted to get it done. I just chatted absolute crap about what I've done and stuff like that. But it is better, obviously, in person. And
was it just take the pressure off you that? Or?
Yeah, I just literally wanted to get one and done, and then just be over and done with.
Yeah,
just to get the feeders out, you know.
It's interesting. I wonder, like, because I had a bit of it when I first started. Were you worried about like? Are you worried about what people think or anything, or were you?
No, because obviously I've been doing video stuff for a while, and I've been putting out stuff of me making myself look like a twat for a little bit, whether I'd be in a camera or talking to camera. Like I've done a couple of YouTube videos beforehand. I'm kind of over it now. I got over maybe that first initial wave of, you know, friends and family or people with that added pressure. Maybe like 2 years ago when I chucked out like a YouTube video or two.
It's kind of expected of you at this point to be in media, like.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, when you were starting out your podcast, you might have had that initial like thought, like, oh, are people going to not judge you, but like you're going to be your own critiquing yourself and being like, oh, I look like a tit on front of the camera because you're not used to it, are you?
It's weird, mate, isn't it? And like trying to be confident enough to ask the questions whilst thinking like, oh, like you're just trying to be in the moment, aren't you? You're trying to think like, I don't really care what people are going to think about what I'm saying. You just need to say what you actually feel, which is quite difficult when you first start.
And especially, what was the name of your first podcast?
Experience Reel.
And that particular podcast, that was like a wide category of different people on from different genres or whatever. And obviously, more than likely, you were meeting a lot of them for the first time.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it, isn't it?
Quite awkward.
Yeah, you've got to just be like. Also, I was doing it in my house, in my garage. Like, so people were turning up. It actually, like, the garage was lit better than the studio I got now. Like, and like people were turning up. They'd be like, "Fuck it, what are we doing in your garage?" Like, because it still had like one of them fold-up doors on it.
Well, I've been there to pick some stuff up from you, haven't I?
Yeah. It took me like a year to get a proper door on it.
So they thought like it was like a proper legit studio kind of thing, and you just turn up, you just pull up this garage door. It's just like this podcast studio in there.
One nice back wall or whatever, and the rest is just cobwebs. Like,
yeah. So you've done that. How many years did you do that for before you packed it in?
Probably about a year and a bit, something like that. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and like initially you get in like decent traction.
Yeah, because you had some banging guests on. Because I recently checked it out, and you know, pretty much every video's up to like 1,000 on YouTube.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I was happy with that. I mean, I think what ended up getting me down is like actually being able to get the guests to you, like being like where we are location wise.
Yeah.
You'd have people like, you'd give them the address, it would all be sorted out, and then all of a sudden, like on the day, they're like, "Oh, I thought it was on Zoom." It's like, well, why am I sending you my address? Like,
yeah, exactly. And obviously, you were based up in like Crickhowell. If anyone don't know where that is, it's pretty much like bottom end of Powys, top end of Monmouthshire, and it's a bit of a...
I had this one guy, right? It was mad. He's from Cardiff. Adam King. He was on SAS Who Dares Wins.
Right, okay.
And anyway, I thought he's from Cardiff. It's not too bad. Give him the address. He come up.
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes, give or take. Yeah, if you hit the traffic right.
But then he was like, oh, I got to go back to London now. He's like, I come from London today to do this because he's living in London. But he's from Cardiff. And I was like, fucking hell, mate.
Yeah,
you've come from London to come up here to do like 500 views.
Yeah.
I was like, felt a bit guilty, like, but yeah, that was pretty cool. He was like one of the finalists.
Oh, sweet. So what kind of guests did you have on? Just a kind of a catalogue of everyone, did you?
Pretty much, yeah. I was kind of like, I don't know. I was just solely being selfish, like majority of the time, going like people which interested me.
Yeah. Well, I do the same, really, obviously, with the filmmaking stuff that I'm doing now. And then, obviously, you pack that in, and then you're on a new podcast now.
I am, mate, yeah. So, like, I suppose the transition was...
Because I'd say your podcast initially was quite, like, fighter, UFC influence, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had a lot of them sort of guys on, and that's how I come to do the podcast I'm doing now, really.
Yeah,
I had, like, Jack Shaw on, UFC fighter, and then he just put on his Instagram story one day, I'm looking for someone to do like a fight camp vlog for me.
Right, okay, cool.
And I was like, if you don't get anyone of any credential who wants to do it for you, like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And what it'll be is what it'll be, like, because I've never filmed anything like that in my life. So anyway, that ended up happening. We did a bit of that, got on and just thought, like, why don't we try a podcast? So that's how it come about.
And that's been going well since, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been going like a year. He had like 1,000 odd subscribers before we started. We're up a couple of more thousand, but it's one of them, mate. I think you just got to be consistent, haven't you?
And how do you find the podcast world?
Yeah, it's good. It's
obviously, I'm a newbie to it. I don't know too much yet.
I don't know, mate. You just
carrying on.
Just do your own thing, innit?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the one thing is just try to be genuine and raw in who you are, innit? More than anything, because there's been times like when I did my initial, when people would be like, you should have so and so on, and you'd have them on, and it was like not really what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't be as genuine or as authentic as you'd like it to be. So then you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, because you're not interested maybe in the subject. You're just doing it maybe for the views kind of thing.
Yeah, what's the point? Don't be wrong. I think there's an element of that in everything you do. You are doing it. You can't lie and say you're not doing it for views, because true. If every episode you did had one view, you'd probably stop.
Yeah, you'd give up.
Wouldn't you? Yeah. After like 100 episodes or
yeah,
less.
I know. I think the most I've got so far, obviously you'll be my fifth episode. I've only got 100 so far, but technically, if you were to like hold a podcast in front of 100 people, like I read it the other day, this quote was like, well, not a quote, but someone stated, people get hung up on maybe like having 1,000 views, 2,000 views on like an Instagram reel or like a YouTube video. But if you physically put all those people in a room, like, you'd
it's insane,
like,
isn't it?
Bloody hell, this is a lot of people. Do you know what I mean?
We had that Paul Smith, the comedian, on.
Oh, the guy from, is he Scouse?
Scouse guy, yeah. Absolute legend. Like, and some of the clips have done like 600 to like 800,000 views on like, I know it's on TikTok and stuff. So I for some reason don't value that as much as like if you were to have it on YouTube.
Funny how you don't value it though, but if you fill the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, you'd have to fill that 10 times to get 800 people viewing that content. Do you know what I mean? I
think what gets me about it is you see someone like eating their cereal getting like 1 million views on TikTok. So you think like, is my clip that good? Like,
and you're giving them proper content. Actually, they can take things away from it, but
yeah. Well, Paul's just taking a piss out of everyone, but
he's funny. He is.
I mean, things like that. Like, that's what I enjoy about it as well. Like, you get to meet people who you never necessarily have been put in front of before. Like, you've never experienced meeting someone like that. And also, I think people like he is a celebrity, like one way or another, and like a lot of people, when you're put in front of these people, you think like it's going to be awkward, it's going to be this, but it actually like breaks down loads of barriers. For me personally, like I just look at people as people now.
Yeah,
I don't tend to get like starstruck,
because your personality might have changed over the years because of obviously like how you've had to deal with people. So you might have been like quite a like recluse or like, you know.
Yeah, I would love actually at some point. I mean, not at the minute because I can't keep up with what I'm doing like on the day to day anyway.
Yeah.
But I'd love to do experience reel again, like a one, because I do enjoy the 1-to-1. What me and Jack do is like MMA based.
Yeah,
mostly.
It's pretty much all fighting, isn't it?
But I'd like to do some more serious stuff as well. Although we do a little bit of that as well, but I would like to do a bit more of that because I do feel like I'm a different person to when I first started before. I'm about 2 stone heavier, like that.
But yeah, because like obviously the podcast you've got now, which is Tanked Up.
Tanked Up, yeah.
That's very fighter heavy influence, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's mostly MMA based. We've had like a couple of other people on who are like
boxers and stuff like that.
yeah, and local legend sort of types of people. But I mean, yeah, like that, I could see that one. Like Experience Reel probably may never grow like that one will, because
Well, it could, because you've got the guests, you've got like a variety of guests. So if anything, Experience Reel would go further.
But potentially, yeah, it's just, I don't know, mate, maybe you know more than me, but like with the algorithm or whatever, I think if you're doing MMA every week,
Yeah.
you're going to tune into that fan base.
Yeah, that's the 100% right in saying that.
Whereas if I say to you, I'm going to do boxer one week, rapper next week, harp player the next week, like
do you know what I mean? Flute player.
That person may have got into your algorithm, and then next week they're never going to watch you again because they don't like what you've done. So I don't know.
Yeah, because obviously you're hitting one maybe criteria and one audience, but then the next minute, like you said, you could be again a harpist on doing like the Royal Ballet or something.
And that's the awkward thing. And like, yeah, that's why I think the MMA, like we're getting like the same people week in, week out who will like message saying, "I'll watch that. I've done this," or like liking your stuff, or not. I really keep tabs on it. I mean, because Jack's got like a decent following.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first time we collabed on something,
it
had like 1,000 likes or something on Instagram. And I just turned my notifications off from that day because I was like, I can't even like
keep up with it.
That's not a brag by any means, because like that's him. That's not me. Like that's his influence on it, but. I think like you can't let all that dictate you too much.
No, like, I've never had my notifications on. I just leave it all off. Not that I'm getting like 100 and 1,000 people like viewing my content, but I just get around to it when I see it, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's better, isn't it? Because focus otherwise, isn't it? You lose your focus. Especially, you'll speak on this more than me, but like when you're editing videos, if you get distracted for 2 minutes, for me that leads to
like
20
2 hours.
minutes. Yeah, I can't get back into it.
Just literally just leave me be when I'm editing. Like sometimes obviously I've changed from a desktop setup. I've gone to like a laptop setup, but sometimes I'll come down into the living room just to be by my missus, but I'll be in a zone, like noise cancelling headphones on, editing away, and then she'll like start talking to me, but I just can't like come away from it because I just need to get it. Like, because I think to myself, as soon as I get this editing done, the sooner I can spend time with you. So like, if you're talking to me while I'm doing the editing right now, I'm going to therefore have less time with you later on, so you might as well just let me get on with it.
Yeah, and I'm not actually with you right now because I'm thinking about this.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not true. Like, I'm responding to you, but I'm going to forget what I've said.
Yeah, like 100%, yeah. It's like she seems to think I got Alzheimer's because she talks to me. I don't digest any of the information. And then when she talks to me like 2 days later, "Oh, do you remember when I said this?" I was like, no. I was heavily engrossed.
You never listen to me.
Like, yeah, you never listen to anything I say.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. But then my argument is, right, I'll go and work in an office then. I'll go and go through like a co-working space and work there. But then because they won't talk to you at all then. They just feel like because you're at home, they can. I
know, it's a weird thing, isn't it? Because I've got a studio like in Ebbvale,
right,
which I could go work out of all the time, but somehow end up working at home.
Yeah.
And at the end of every day when I haven't barely got anything done, I'm always like, I should have fucking gone up there, man. I should have gone up there. And then you're just like panicking about the amount of stuff
because you're at home, you just automatically get out of like your working routine because you just think, I'll go and do this, go and do that, just take a 5-minute break, and then you just
there's always something else to do, isn't there?
End up getting like one video edited when you could have easily done like 5.
Yeah, I do find it's the type of thing. Sometimes you can get more done in an hour than you can get done in 2 days.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it's really hard. Like, you just got to be in flow state, haven't you? That's why I think like at one point I was like, I'll film a video, I'll get it out for you by the end of the week. I don't say that to anyone now because I don't know if I'm going to find myself in that space that week to be able. Don't get me wrong, I'll hit deadlines for people and stuff, but sometimes I'm like, maybe I could have actually done better if I'd had more time, just to like run it through and find a place where I got vision for it. Because sometimes I edit a video, go to sleep, think when I wake up in the morning, I'll send that off. I look at it and I got to redo the whole thing
because you're not happy with it.
No, because I'm a totally different person today.
Oh, right, okay. You like maybe your style's changed, or like you like maybe think the footage could work better a different way.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you find that at all, or
I haven't come across it? But I'll like most nights before I go to bed, I'll do a little bit of editing, but then I'll just obviously consume a bit of YouTube or stuff, and then I'll see someone's style, and I'll be like, oh, sick. I want to do that, and then I wake up, put the laptop up, and then I think, how can I make this, not make it look like it, but I really enjoy that effect that they've done or how they've made that video. How can I make that into my own stuff? Yeah.
Well, like, I'm so early on in it. Like, if I'm honest, I'm just, every day is like a learning day.
So you were full-time employed with a company, but are you still there, or you handed in your notice now?
I've handed in my notice. I'm there until September 1st.
Yeah.
And then I'm out there, mate. I got a few different things, like, which I've been doing. I mean, the video editing and filming and stuff is one. Like,
Yeah, so for the context of people listening or watching, you were initially working for like Welsh War, was it? Something
National Grid, it is. It's like electricity
yeah, National Grid.
connections and-
But because you got into the podcast world and obviously been picking up cameras, you're now, what are you doing now?
I'm going to be, well, like I call it real media marketing. So, like,
Yeah.
it's a spin off of the Experience Real, I suppose. Just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
keeping that real
Yeah, that's cool.
type of name. Because I like to think a lot of stuff I try to do is like, I like when I'm working with people to keep it like raw and honest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like what the podcast I felt was about. And obviously, like, I mean, not when you're filming everything, it's not raw and honest, is it? But you know what I mean? So that's the plan basically, is create videos for people, businesses. Like my own, what I'd actually love to do is like, I've done a lot of stuff with Jack, which has been like a passion sort of project, like where I went to the UFC fight hotel the week of the fight and we filmed like a
Nice.
vlog and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's sick.
I'd like to do more of that. And I mean, if you get good enough at that, maybe someone who's like earning good money fighting in UFC or whatever will be able to pick me up and maybe we'll.
So you had like your 9 till 5. You're also doing your podcast on the side. If I'm doing the podcast, you then kind of realise you had an interest for like filmmaking, editing and stuff, and you kind of maybe let the 9 till 5 take a backseat and thought, how can I push this full time kind of thing?
Pretty much, mate. Yeah, that's kind of how it come about. Like I said, I did the vlogs with Jack. That's my first like started to film stuff. And then quickly you realise, don't you, as time goes on, fucking hell,
I can earn a bit of money in this.
Yeah, and not just that, but like to be able to even do this, I need to earn money to get kit to make it look good. Because I was started producing stuff, and I was like, well, how have they done that then? Oh, they got this camera, they got this lens, they got, and then before you know it, like you need to have made money to be able to even get the stuff you need to.
Yeah, you can have the
something good.
fundamental basics, but then obviously like eventually you might need the quality. You can get a good body, but as long as you got yourself a nice, good lens with that, you're pretty sweet half the time.
Yeah, and you know, I come to you 9 times out of 10 before I buy something. I'm like, should I get this? Should I do this? I'm like, oh, fuck.
Because I'm shooting on the A7. You got the A7, but then you had the kit lens on it, and then did you go and buy the Sigma as well?
Yeah, I bought
Sigma
that lens as well.
Lens. Did you find the quality change straight away from the kit lens, just from switching over the lenses?
Completely different. Like it's like a different camera, mate. Honestly, like with the other lens on, it was like steps up. I had a Canon M50 before. It was steps up from that, but it was like another leap again with that lens.
Because that kit lens that comes with the Sony, that art lens, the Sigma like 24-70.
Yeah, that's the one.
So nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I couldn't believe like the difference in weight though. You got to
it's
carry
heavy,
around.
it's heavy as hell. Because I know Tamron, another manufacturer, do the same kind of focal length, but it's like made out of plastic quite a lot, so it's way lighter.
Yeah.
But like the one that obviously we're filming on right now.
Yeah. Is that the same lens?
It's a bulky bit of kit.
It is. Yeah.
Because when I first bought that lens, because I was just saying to the missus, I was like, I need another lens. I need to like upgrade something. Like the visuals aren't looking as good. I bought the lens and I had the old like DJI Ronin gimbal, but they couldn't handle the payload anymore because the lens was so heavy.
That's so I had the same problem.
Poxy go and buy a gimbal on top as well. Like, do you know what I mean? So you buy the lens and then you have to chip in another 900 quid just to weigh everything on it.
I was just saying, mate. Well, I haven't got the DJI gimbals, but I got like a
Zoom
Fiotech or whatever it is, and I got that one fine with the M50, fine with the Sony with a standard lens, and then once I got that Sigma one, it just wouldn't work. So I had to buy another one then.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like you think, once I get this, I'll be sorted. That's all I need for ages. You get it, and then you need something else straight away, and it just seems to roll on. Like it never ends. I listened to your podcast with that Aiden the other day, and he's talking about a cinema camera, and you start looking at them, and you're like, not that I'm not gonna get one like right away.
No, I'd love one, but
you're just like, fucking, it just never ends, does it?
It's expensive, isn't it? Because then you got to remember that, and these big cinema cameras, or even like the Sony ones because I like the Sony, I like the colors and stuff like that, so I stay Sony. Their budget one, I say their budget one, but they're lower end tier camera. You got the FX30, and you got the FX3. The FX30 that was a crop censored one, so you could chuck the Sigma on there, but then you're not getting the full frame. Then if you go the FX3, you're talking like $3,500. And then what you don't remember, you won't be. I didn't even know until I spoke to someone about it. You then need like better cards, so then you got to spend like an extra £100 on cards.
It's got to have a faster writing,
faster read, like express cards and stuff like that, to obviously deal with like the high quality like 15-bit colors and stuff like that. So you're not only buying the camera, then you got to chip out another 200 quid on cards, and it just gets expensive.
I know. That's what I find with it. It just never seems to end. And I was like, you just got to. I don't know if, I mean, I think what you actually do with what you've got is the difference, isn't it? Like, compared to
100%.
what you've got, because like I'm not near your level or the guys you've had on, but I mean, like sometimes I'm like, oh, I've made something look really good here, or I've made something look not so good, but it's usually down to what you've done rather than the camera.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I see some people's content online, and they've made it like on their iPhone. It looks incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Like the way
Do you
they
mean
lit
it's how it's shot, and maybe like how it's lit, and like the what's the word I'm looking for? The not when you frame something up. What's the technical term?
I don't know.
I
Mate.
just lost my mind. The composition.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's basically all about the composition. So, and all the lighting and stuff like that. But some people can do 20, 30 times better what I can do with that camera than that. It's just mental.
Does sometimes it piss you off though, when not to be like a hater or anything.
Yeah.
But when I talk about like these TikTok videos which do millions of views, or like someone will do like an advert, which is like obviously basically like a self-ad promotion with their phone or whatever. They're doing like mental views, or and you're just like, oh, you put so much effort in. And sometimes you think like, do you just overcomplicate certain things?
Yeah, because like there's a lot of different things that can obviously. Are you on about like maybe you're putting a lot of stuff into your content, but it's not maybe reaching a.
Yeah, exactly. Or
because there's a lot of stuff I've read about that, like I don't know, like the algorithms on Instagram and like TikTok, they'd rather you just film on your phone. So somehow they know whether you've processed it through like a software that they don't like not recommend, but like say if you filmed your stuff in Premiere, edit it and export it to the computer or to your phone, the app and the algorithm works out that it wasn't the video that you made wasn't created within the TikTok app or the Instagram app, and then the algorithm will then push it to not see as many people.
Yeah,
so it's just like stupid shit like that. But then I always just think, if this is meant to be, my time will eventually come around where something will maybe get like a fair few views and it'll start getting traction that way.
Yeah, I think so as well. And like what you're kind of doing with keeping it in the video realm or like the entrepreneurship type of thing, I think like niching down, people who are interested in entrepreneurship are like, they're not just going to change their mind and not be like, do you know what I mean? People like to keep consuming that sort of thing. I get stuck in them rabbit holes all the time. Like I like,
because now that you picked up a camera and you're obviously doing videos, you still got to take entrepreneurship and you've got to learn a little bit of that, because obviously technically running a business.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And like I was into, not that I was because I had a job, but I always liked the idea of running a business way prior to doing any filming.
Yeah, you just managed to realise that the business that you're going to run is going to involve filmmaking and cameras and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I got the studio up there. Like the goal is, it's a little way off. Yeah, it's all right for like us to use, but the plan is I want to make it like fully soundproofed, and I'd love to be able to have that in the position where we could have people up, film a podcast, and I could be like on the production side of it whilst they're filming, changing angles or doing all that sort of thing, and then actually edit it all for them. But I mean, the market like in Wales, I don't know. I'm sure it's going to grow podcasts, but it's still like there's not that many people who are creating stuff, is there? Like how many podcasts are in Wales? You could probably count them on.
Obviously there's different niches and stuff. I wouldn't know about filmmaking and stuff. The thing is, it's coming across them as well. There could be like 6 other podcasts about filmmaking and photography within Wales, but obviously like my algorithm hasn't showed me them yet. Do you know what I mean? Even though I like on Instagram or TikTok, I follow the hashtag filmmaking or I follow the hashtag videography, and you would think then obviously the app that you're using would push it through. I haven't come across any podcast like that. I've only come across one recently. There's a camera shop in Cardiff, and I think the gentleman who work there, they run one.
Yeah.
Like a it's like a camera. It's pretty much kind of like this, but I think it's more like camera tech and stuff like that.
Like reviewing and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, and just, obviously they got guests on to talk about stuff, but that's the only one I've come across in Wales. Obviously there are other podcasts, because you obviously got your Tanked Up one that you're on. Yeah. But obviously they're more than likely in different niches, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I haven't really thought, but I know of like 4 or 5. Right, off the top of my head, like you've got the Central Club in Cardiff there.
Yes,
they're probably the biggest, like that I know of, at least.
In Wales, yeah.
In Wales.
Right, okay.
I had him on my podcast, like the guy who runs
I actually saw that video, yeah.
Yeah. And then you got Ours, like, which is, I don't know, you were there. And then you got this Walshy's podcast down in Swansea, which was pretty cool, but I think his is like kind of...
What's that one about?
he had like kind of fighters general sort of. That's probably how I've come across it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
talking about like DMT, ayahuasca, all that sort of thing. And then now you, Cole, like yours is going to be number one filmmaking podcast in Wales.
Well, hopefully the world. But yeah, I don't know about any of us. It's niching down, isn't it?
100%.
There's definitely some out there because I've come across them, but obviously you might get the majority like towards London because that's probably where it's big.
Yeah, I think consistent is like the key as well in it, because there's probably loads, but unless you're doing one, for me at least, like 2, 3, 4 a month, like it doesn't really count, does it?
Yeah, I think it's about enjoying it as well, because obviously, like even now, I'll finish filming the podcast, I'll go home, obviously save the footage, then I'll think to myself, I need to get at least 2 or 3 reels out every day up to the day it's released.
Yeah.
So like what I'll do, I'll obviously cut the whole podcast and I'll rewatch it through and put markers through on the timeline, and then I'll cut little sections. But then every time I make a reel, it takes me like 15, maybe half an hour, depending how much I want to go into it.
Yeah.
So every single day, for the reels, I'm putting in an hour and a half on top of editing a normal podcast in the first place.
Have you ever, you probably won't want to do this because this is like the filmmaker and you probably want to do all that sort of thing, don't you? I do it as well still, like do 1 or 2 clips. Mm-hmm. But we're only trialing it at the minute and some of it is absolutely crap. But like there's this AI called Opus AI,
right? Okay.
Which is like a video clipping.
I use one which you want to try banging. It's called Autopod.
Is it? Yeah.
Sick.
Oh, so you are.
So that's a recommendation. If you're doing like an interview setup, like if you're a filmmaker or stuff like that, or doing podcasts, it's called Autopod. I think I want to say it's like £30 a month.
Is it?
But if you work it out, you get your bang for your buck. If you're releasing 4 episodes a month, or if you're doing more, it works out like £5 an episode, maybe £10 an episode. Do you know what I mean? So really,
ours was 150 quid for the year.
Yeah.
And it'll allow you to upload 40 hours of content.
Okay.
So like you drop your YouTube link.
Oh, so this is like a porthole that you go onto online and do it that way.
I literally upload it to YouTube.
Yeah.
Set it to unlisted. Put the link into this website online.
Right, okay.
It'll then produce 30 clips for me in
fair.
15 minutes.
So yeah, I do my editing process differently. I'll edit all in Premiere, but the Autopod, I believe the plugin's called. It's a plugin for Premiere.
Ah, right, okay.
So it's a plugin. Then you obviously put all the timeline together with your different camera angles, and then basically you tell Autopod who's on each layer. So obviously I'll have Joe 1 layer, Cole 1 layer, then I'll have another layer called wide. And I'll tell it the frequency I want it to like cut between us. So obviously it'll pick up when you're talking, because you also say Joe's on audio level 1, Cole's on audio level 2, and it'll automatically cut between each one for you, and it'll do it in like 30 seconds. An hour podcast cut in 30 seconds.
Is it? That's good, isn't it? Oh, right. So you don't do the angle changes or anything like that yourself?
No, so like, literally, say like you're in Premiere or whether you're in DaVinci or whatever, I'll put the wide camera on one layer, I'll put you on another one, and then myself on the top one. And then literally, I'll go into the plugin, and you've got little drop-down boxes, and it says camera 1 or like V1 on Premiere, like, and you'll say wide, V2 per you, V3 me, and then you'll link and then I'll say A1, which is audio 1. So whoever's on audio 1, you'll link that to them. And then literally you press start, but you can also tweak the frequency that you want the plugin to cut between each people. So if sometimes I'm going like that, you can choose like a 2-second delay between the cuts. So you press start and it'll cut everything for you.
That's mad. Fair play. I need to have a look at that. But I don't know how we I don't know how you do it audio wise. Is it saving as like separate files for each mic?
Yeah.
Mine doesn't do that. So I maybe need to look into something like that, because that sounds much easier. I got to go through an hour and just be like dunk 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 dunk.
Oh no, yeah, literally the way we're recording this is it records on 2 different channels.
Right.
So your mic's all through one, mine's all through another. They're on 2 separate audio layers, and then literally that plugin just does it all for you. But then obviously I go through and watch the whole thing. But while I'm watching the whole thing, I'll put markers along the timeline for things that I maybe want to cut into a reel.
Yeah.
And if anything, I feel like where we're both talking together, but the camera's maybe still stayed on you, I'll engage the wide angle just so we're both still in the shot as well.
That's cool. I need to look at that for sure. This Opus I use is just purely for clips.
Yeah.
Like you just bang your whole podcast in there. they're basically changing it all the time, updating it. It's like relatively new.
Yeah.
But you could, at the start, it was just you bang a YouTube link in there.
Yeah.
So I was doing that before the episode come out on unlisted, getting a load of clips. They give you 30 clips, maybe 5 of them are actually all right.
Mm-hmm.
You can go in and edit the text captions. It automatically puts on there because they don't understand us because we're Welsh. Like
Yeah, I've had
just-
that issue sometimes.
Yeah, basically just use that app. I just find we're just trying to reel out loads of content. Don't necessarily put it all onto Instagram, but we'll maybe take a load of the clips and use them on TikTok because we like to put the good, better stuff on Instagram and maybe TikTok.
Do you prioritize like what stuff goes on TikTok and what stuff goes on Instagram?
Sometimes, I mean, we bang a lot of it on Instagram, but we try to just put more on TikTok than Instagram, just because I think you've got to be more consistent on that. Probably.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if there is any right or wrong. I think maybe just more the merrier with like content. Because sometimes you see like a load of these clip channels, they're just nicking random clips from places and they look crap, but they get thousands of views. So is it more or is it better? I don't know. Sometimes you can edit an amazing clip and it's done less than a crap one. Like, so do you overthink it or do you just bang it out in it?
So that's how you obviously edit your podcast. Talk to me a little bit like how you actually got into like the filmmaking, videography kind of stuff.
So yeah, like I said, doing stuff for Jack, and then I just had like random people just be like, any chance you can make a video for me doing this? I seen what you've done with Jack. Could you do this for me? And then it just kind of ticked on from there. I mean, like, I don't know how you found it, but you seem to do one job for one person and someone else asks you to do something. It's just been word of mouth, really. I haven't really pushed myself out there advertising wise, purely because I've been in a day job, and whenever I have like purposefully put something out and said like, if anyone needs anything done, let me know. Mm-hmm. I find like a bit overwhelming if you have got a few projects on go whilst working 40 hours a week.
You just haven't got enough time with you.
And like I say, one thing to another, I got like a couple of people who I'm working with like week in, week out sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. And I just think like once I've left, I mean, sometimes you got to close one door for another one to open. I'm not fully there to the point where I can earn a living off what I'm doing, but I genuinely don't feel like I can do that as well as my day job until I've done it.
Yeah, you won't be struggling at all, will you? Because like one thing that helps me is I got one client that's on like a retainer, so I know every month obviously I'll have enough work with them, so like my bills and stuff are covered, so I can live, and then any video stuff on top, then it's better.
Well, that's it. That's kind of what I've got. I got 2 people who I deal with. Like it's not like massive money contracts or anything like that. But it's just something consistent. So then everything else, because like one-off jobs, you just don't know how many of them you're going to get, do you? I mean, if you do a job like for £500 for someone, they seem it's like steep for one video, but for you, it's kind of like, well, it is only one video. Like
it's one paycheck, that's it.
Yeah, I'm going to only ever maybe deal with you once. If you like going to promise me something consistent, then maybe we can like
offer like a discount of some sort.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how you found that, but like a lot of people want you for certain things and that's it, and it's quite hard to get someone
definitely. I think you can tell what the clients. Obviously, some clients are coming to you for a promo video, but you can kind of tell, depending obviously what they do, whether they're going to want continual work or whether they're just going to want the one-off for their website or just promote their business on Facebook or something like that.
Exactly. It's like the next goal, I think, for me anyway, don't know about you, is like trying to figure out how to, because I find like you're doing all these local stuff for like maybe local people. Mm-hmm. It's like breaking into that next market where you're like, rather than being like, I know him, I'm a little bit emotionally tied to that. So like the cost, I'm a little bit like, a bit hesitant to say too much, don't want to offend someone. You want to get into the market where you're like a big corporation or something that is just like, they've got a budget for this already. So it doesn't really matter. Like as long as you're not being ridiculous.
From like the small towns that obviously we grew up in, obviously they don't realise the power of like video marketing. You go to like the bigger cities and stuff like that, whether it's your London, your Cardiff or your Birmingham, they're used to competing with other companies who've got a bigger marketing budget, and obviously therefore they've got a marketing budget put aside each year to spend on video production. Yeah,
whereas like round by us, local builders and whatever, or whoever you may be dealing with.
Yeah, like the local bakery, like, do you know what I mean? They might get a footfold of like 100 people through the door a day.
Yeah.
And then you come along and say, that's like £500 for a full day plus the editing or however much you want to charge. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
That's like earnings for like 2 days, do you know what I mean?
But then also like then you see someone, I don't know, like the cheesecake guy who comes out with like a trendy new idea is absolutely storming because he's actually someone like that. I don't know him personally, but you see him everywhere, don't you? So I imagine he's put a bit of work into the marketing. They do excel so much quicker. I mean,
it's just trying to get through to maybe those potential clients they're like, if your product can be like maybe ordered online, or you've got multiple like stores you can go to, then you can edit. You can obviously market through like video production, whether it's photography and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was 4 years ago I had a chimney sweeping business. So like wood burners, like a massive thing. Everyone needs their flue cleaned. And that's how I realised like the power of like Facebook ads and things like that. I mean, I can remember thinking like, it was like 50 quid I was getting per job.
Mm-hmm.
And you're there for like an hour, so it's pretty decent. You can earn good money doing that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm just going to put 50 quid on Facebook ads because I'm sick of spamming all the people I know.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, I'll share this for me, share this for me.
Or you put in the local community page or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's
it gets tired, doesn't it? So
I
Facebook ad and then like targeted all the people who I thought would be interested, like homeowners, this sort of thing. And then I had 15 or 16 jobs come from it within the space of a week.
Oh, so you can't go wrong with that, can you?
I mean, like the power of that just shows, doesn't it? And I mean, if these people get a video created and then you run it as a Facebook ad, like, because you can create videos for people, like we were saying earlier, they can be as high quality as you want, but unless people see them, sometimes they can be a little bit irrelevant, can't they?
Do you find that like sometimes you see ads on like TikTok or Instagram or wherever you see it, that like they're very not boring ads, but they're very just like blasé. They're like normal, easy ads to create.
Yeah, sometimes, and they seem to do
well amazing
as well. Yeah, but like you say, if they're an ad, their marketing budget, I mean, they just look at something like the ROAS, which is like the return on ad spend, innit? They just like, are we selling and making more profit out of this than we're spending? If so, we're going to keep spending until that starts to reverse, until everyone who wants this product has bought, innit? And it's just an equation for them. It's not like, does money this look amazing? Maybe there is a bit of this, does this look amazing? They want it to do as well as it can. But
a lot of videos I see now on like your TikTok and all, it's just like they obviously pay influencers to do their marketing or their video stuff. So it's just iPhone quality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And like you say, but they already got a massive audience, so it just makes sense. I mean, I've never dealt with anyone like that. I wouldn't know how much you'd have to pay someone like that to even...
There's won't be obviously price brackets depending on how many bloody followers you got and stuff like that.
I mean, like I done a live speaking event with a Fab Four rugby boys a couple of months ago. Prior to that, I'd done one with a boxer from Swansea, Angelo Dragoni. And once I'd done that one, I was like, I'd love to put on my own events where like we have, I don't know, rugby fighter or whoever up on stage, talk about their life story, try and sell tickets, and then have like a DJ and make like a proper night of it. Do you know what I mean? Like have a party after. And I was looking at like the cost of booking people.
I bet it was ridiculous.
Mate, like, who was it? I was trying to, prior to this again, I was trying to book, like, I was like, because I was just thinking, like, I'm just going to ask the most crazy people in the world to come on my podcast. And if some of them happen, some of them happen. Some of them did happen, like, to a degree. But I was like, going through loads of management companies, like, trying to find people
that
and, like,
book on.
I was just getting interested to see how much people were, and I was looking at like Jay from the In-Betweeners, like, I was just like drop his manager an email. It was like 12 grand before he'd even consider speaking to you. Like,
that's disgusting.
For like an hour podcast, and you know, like, you may have him on, and he may only do 12,000 views. Like, not one, it's not worth a pound a view. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not.
So
click-through rate's ridiculous.
You got to add it up, haven't you? And like, if you were a multi-millionaire, you'd have a guest like that on every week, and it would pretty much guarantee you'd be a success.
Or unless you've got a massive audience and they're using your podcast as a platform to boost whatever they're trying to reach out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of them.
Like Diary of the CEO.
Yeah.
Obviously, his podcast is so big, the guests want to come on because obviously they know they've got a platform then to maybe push a book that they've just released or maybe talk about an experience or something like that.
Definitely. And like, he's done an amazing job of that. And like, I'm not saying he has necessarily paid guests because I don't know, but he was like a multi-millionaire prior to this. So he'd have a lot of connections, wouldn't he? Whether he paid them or not, like, they probably wanted to be in the room with him as much as he wanted to be in the room with them. So it is like a transfer of value. And I understand why, like, a Jay from the In-Between, why is he going to want to come on my podcast without getting a lot of money? Like, it just wouldn't make any sense because he'd be doing 4 a day otherwise, wouldn't he? For the rest of his life. Yeah,
that's fair. That is fair. Going back to the videography kind of stuff, what do you want to kind of do with it? What do you reckon your kind of expertise you're going to niche down in? Because obviously, I done a recent job for you for a rugby tournament. Is that something you like doing? Is that kind of filmmaking?
I do enjoy that. like, because I went there one day, you went there another day.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually enjoyed being there, like, because that was quite a vibe on it.
Yeah, it's quite cool. Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a rugby tournament with a party.
Because we both enjoy watching rugby, like, so.
Yeah, well, sort of.
You're not a rugby fan, yeah.
Once you start getting into fighting, it's like hard to watch anything else. I find it's just
Yeah.
not as exciting. I do enjoy it when I'm actually sit down and watch it, but I don't purposefully. Even though I did that talk with them boys, but
what videos have you made and produced that you found that you enjoyed doing the most from actually filming it through to editing it? What do you think you found?
probably that UFC fight week. Like I was only there a day, and we did a lot beforehand.
Yeah,
but stuff like that, because it's like it's a genuine hobby of mine to watch fighting, be involved, not be involved in it, I don't fight obviously, be interested in it. Only maybe on a Friday night when I was younger,
exactly.
but, so like that's what I'd like to be more heavily involved with, like in that sort of world, because if it comes natural to you talking about that sort of thing, being involved in that sort of thing, I watch a lot of that content anyway. So when I'm filming it, I'm thinking like, how do they do that? Like I'm looking
true.
at like actually what the UFC is producing. I'm thinking like that's the gold standard of what I'd like to aim towards.
So your video company now, are you gonna try and niche down with that? Like, how do you think you're gonna do the UFC kind of filming stuff, but with your company?
Well, this is I haven't tied the knots on that, to be honest with you. That's one of the most difficult things, is the passion side of things is probably the hardest thing to monetize, isn't it? Because
100%.
there's so many people. There's so many people who are passionate about that sort of thing who probably will just do it for free.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes difficult. It's like you doing stuff for, I don't know, if you do stuff for influencers and stuff, like a lot of people will do stuff for them for free, won't they?
Because they get the exposure.
Yeah, so like you are, unless they're like at that level where they need something that is amazing.
Yeah.
They're probably going to phone you. So
no, I don't know. There's plenty of better people out there than me. So where do you think you're gonna kind of like take it in the next couple of maybe months, like years? You're just gonna you're still trying to learn the basics, just become better at like operating a camera and editing and stuff like that?
Yeah, just the basics. Just probably gonna try and push like doing business promotion videos for people.
Yeah,
I do enjoy that side of things anyway, because I like enjoy the concept of business, and you learn a lot when you're going out and doing videos with these other companies. And I think like when you involve yourself in like conversations with people like that, you see how much money is out there. Like we're stuck in like limited thinking, realistically.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
When we're around our area, I mean, 6 months, a year ago, I was like, I'd find it hard to tell someone like a couple of £100 for a video. And now I'm like, I can't even walk out the house.
Yeah, you just got to stick to your guns and yeah.
So you just got to like open your mind to like the possibilities that are actually out there. And, understand like the value you bring as well, like I think is key. Like I'm sure you know, it's just a big learning curve. But I'd like to, like I say, do more business videos. Maybe pick up a couple of podcasts, which maybe someone from the ground up I would like to work with.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, man. When you're first starting out, you've kind of got to do a little bit of everything, haven't you?
Yeah, you've got like you're trying to do editing. You're trying to do like even like silly things like sound recording to try and make the voice sound good if you do an interview. You also do the filmmaking side of things. What things have you found the most challenging so far?
Dealing with clients. Nah, I get on with people pretty well. Like generally, I enjoy building connections with people. But at the same time, like sometimes it's more of an education then, I suppose. Like you're trying to teach them, like, because
this is how like this world works if you haven't done it before, kind of thing.
Yeah, and maybe like they're questioning, like, oh, that's a lot of money, like, or for this, and you're trying to explain, well,
do you feel like turning around and say, like, fuck off, go and speak to someone who's based in Cardiff or London and they'll charge you like $5,000 for all I'm offering?
That's all I'd like to say, but you can't, can you? You like, so you gotta try and like just educate them and be like, well, this is why, but then also you don't really want to be telling everyone why, like, to a certain degree. You just, I mean, I started off, I'm X amount an hour, and then I was like, people are getting offended because they're like, well, I only earn this, so why would I pay this? Like, but it doesn't work like that, does it? Yeah,
you've got to obviously, like, I don't even do hour now. I just do like I'd say like a flat day rate.
Yeah.
Because it's just easier that way. But then obviously people don't realise you're not only, it's obviously, you're paying obviously for you to film for that day, but then you've also got to take into consideration like the subscription cost for like Adobe Suite. Then you've got like your platforms to share the footage on or send the footage. Then you've got like your plugins, and then you've got your camera equipment, your camera rental. So it's basically saying like, oh, I'm running this shop, I can't afford that because I got to pay to like operate my shop. Well, technically I'm the same, but it's all my stuff that I'm operating is here with me right now.
Yeah, it's all hardware for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm the same, mate, probably. And then you've also got to take consideration every month or two, you're probably buying a new bit of kit that's £500, £1,000,
Yeah.
whatever it may be, just try and improve your game as well.
Exactly.
Because
And the thing is, even to get a video out the door, just from like monthly subscriptions, I think I've got like 6 monthly subscriptions of stuff. They're nearly 100, 150 quid each. So before you even press record on a fucking camera, before you even brought the camera, you spend about 150 quid just on programs a month just to be able to produce a video, even if you had a camera.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And they got to take that into consideration. I mean, especially if you're dealing with someone, if they're earning good money, like, but they expect to pay you less, then they got to. Like, I think a lot of people do understand. So I'm not going to slag like clients off majorly. Like, most people are understanding, but you do get the odd one or two, and you just think like they must be on a different planet. Like,
yeah, because you try and I sometimes try and not sugarcoat it, but like I put the price and I say then it's this for editing as well. Then
yeah,
but then like obviously you try and work it out. So sometimes I might do like a full day's editing and then put that through the cost. So I'll do like, I don't know, £100 per video or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like that tournament you went to and filmed. How many hours were you there? Like, was it like 12 hours or something? 11 hours?
Yeah.
Like, how much do you charge for making videos out of that? Because there's so much to go through, isn't there? Like,
yeah, basically what I would do for that, I usually charge about £22 an hour editing.
Yeah.
Which is about 180 quid a day. Like, on my editing charge is never as much as my, actual filming rate. But then I'll do it 2 ways. Depends if I want to be savvy or cunning or not. I'll do, it depends if I know they've got the budget. I'll either do like, so I'll do the day rate 180 and I'll do as many videos as I can in the 180. Or if they just like wanted like a one-off video, or like if I knew it was like a 3-minute video, I do like 60 quid a video.
yeah.
But it depends really on like how I feel.
I know what you mean. You gauge it, don't you? You gauge
yeah.
it. Like, I've gone down the road now where I tend to ask people, like, what's your budget? Because
That's the best thing to do.
you get a feel for where they're at. And also, mate, like, you don't restrict, like, if they've got a decent budget, you don't restrict in your own mind before you started what you're willing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Because I do want to make the best videos I possibly can make.
Yeah.
And if they had a big budget, I would maybe get someone else in on it with me as well.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to do that. Or or say if they had a big fuck off budget, I think actually maybe there's people out there better than me, or my equipment's not good enough. I want to turn this now into a full on production where I can then use this as my own for my own portfolio and make it look amazing.
Exactly, yeah. Like,
So then you can rent in cameras, you can go full out with the lights, and
that's it, because you can manage people, can't you? You don't need to be the best at everything, because like videography makes it sound like you just need a videographer. I mean, like, if you really want to create something special, it's not one man's not going to do it, like, are they?
No, you need multiple.
Yeah, and that's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe there is people out there who can do amazing things, but I do think.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a niche for like a one-man band, but there's some certain projects, if the budget's big enough, God, that project or that video will turn out so much better if you have a team behind you and they've all got like a specific job. It doesn't have to be like down the one specific job, but you can have one bloke who like operating the lights and in the meantime shoots B cam or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely, and maybe that's like part of the vision going forward. I mean, like, I got the studio, I got office space, like I've kind of got the cart before the horse. Do you know what I mean? It sounds,
exactly.
But I got all that like there ready, so I would like to grow and maybe produce something like that, maybe have a team. But I'm also like happy. I'd like to just collaborate with people like yourself and whatever up until that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there's been some certain occasions where I thought, like, there's been some times where I filmed and I haven't taken the film budget. I've just taken the editing budget because I wanted more people on hands-on with the project.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think, oh, fuck it, whatever. I won't take the actual filming cost, obviously, because that's their rate as well for the extra person. I'll take the money from the editing side of things. So I'll do it that way. Sometimes if I want like a bigger crew or I want the project to be better and I can't, maybe the client hasn't got the budget there to afford 2 cameramen or something like that.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, selfishly, like, unselfishly, you've got to maybe forget about the money a little bit and be like, does this project need another 2 or 3 hours that they're not willing to pay for, but will it get me 2 or 3 jobs that will?
Yeah, exactly. Because like in like a real world, if you said, say for example, I charge £180 for a day editing, in the real world, if I was doing something I enjoyed doing and got paid £180 a day to do it, I'd fucking bite someone's hand off.
Yeah, imagine saying that to you like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Innit? Because I can
always... You're going to pay me £180 to do what I want to do for a day, like.
Yeah.
Say if the video took a day to edit it, Do you know, it could take a week, you don't know, but obviously you factor that in. But if they said, yeah, fucking right, give me 180 quid then to do what I want to do.
I know, it's crazy, really, isn't
But
it?
then, like, you know, the budget's bigger, and you know there's an actual film day budget there. But then you like start getting greedy. Then you think, oh, that an extra 500 quid in my bank would look nice. But or do you think, actually, I'll hire someone else in, and we can both make something better together then?
Yeah, but yeah, like it's one of them, innit? My whole goal, like for the last 6 months before I left, before I handed my notice in, was purely like I haven't taken any of the money and spent it on anything good for myself. It's all been like I'm going to get more gear.
Yeah,
I'm going to position myself in a better place.
Gear, yeah.
And like that's probably the second I get to the point where I can cover my bills and all that. That's where I'll be going with it then.
Yeah,
I don't see myself just slowing down.
So yeah, that's the thing. You were obviously saying about buying equipment and stuff. I got to a point where I was like, do I stop buying equipment and do I start investing in actually like not marketing but like building a business?
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? So like maybe investing in a better website or investing in more things like dealing with like SEO stuff or like targeted marketing and stuff, because you see a lot of people, they won't have a lot of equipment or they won't have their best equipment, but the amount of clients they've got because they've invested more into the business aspect of stuff, like they're absolutely flying, and they might charge like 4 or 5 times more than creators that I know. But because they've got their how they run their business and their networking down to a T, at one point I was like, right, I need to start doing this now, because you can have as much equipment as you want. However, if you're not running a business, you're just recording a camera when someone says, oh, can you do a video for me? It's two separate things, you know?
You're basically an employee to yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
At the minute, like, because like you say, you want a business to be running if you're not there for a day or two, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
To still be able to churn in money, and that's ultimately like one of the
yeah.
goals, isn't it? Where you can like maybe lay out a project for a team for a week, and you can go away feeling comfortable and safe in the fact that you're going to come back and it's going to be as you thought or somewhere near. Like, but I do think that'll come over time, won't it? I mean, I think you've got to kind of be on the ground floor now. Like, I'm talking to you as if like I'm preaching. I'm not trying to preach.
No.
This is like things that go through my own
I
head.
still need to learn things as well. Obviously, you might have pick things up along the way as well.
Yeah, and I think long-term plan, like, 'cause I'm sure as yourself, is you'd like to grow something pretty decent, wouldn't you? And
yeah, I'd love to, like, even if I had like a team of 3.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I'd just have like another two other cameramen, someone that maybe dealt with like the networking, running the business kind of thing, dealing with clientels and clients. Do you know what I mean? Maybe, you know, reaching out, finding new sales and stuff like that. And then like an editor as well. But it doesn't bug me, because obviously I haven't physically worked hard enough, and there must be something I'm doing wrong. But like do you ever see like TikToks and stuff like that? They said, watch me build like a video production company in a year.
yeah.
And then, like, by the end of the year, they're, like, absolutely fucking flying. They got a big, massive office. They got, like, 20 people working on, like, multiple projects. I'm like, fuck, I've been going for 2 years. Like, what am I doing that they're not?
It depends on loads of factors, though, mate.
Yeah,
doesn't
it does. But I think the main factor is running a business. So I understand that I hear a lot of things that you've got to create content, put the content out so people can see it. And then, obviously, you don't know how many people are seeing that content that actually might eventually think, oh, he's good at what he does. We'll get him to do a job. But at the same time, you're putting all those man hours into edit. Say you do edit like 3 hours a day. Imagine you put like 2 of those hours into finding new clients every single day. You're putting in nearly 14 hours a week of finding new clients. Say you contact 100 clients.
Yeah.
And I don't know, 20% come back and they're interested, but maybe you make 5 sales through it. Do you know what I mean? So you get 5 clients. You'll if you're charging your minimum of like, you say £500 a day film, and then you got your editing on top, you're nearly talking 2.5, nearly £3,000 a month. Then
Yeah.
it's just hard to draw the line between creating and actually running a business. That's what I find the hardest. I think that's the best way to upscale.
There's not enough time, like, is there? That's what it feels like. But then people are doing it. But then I think like I went back to with the chimney sweeping with the Facebook ads. Like, do you, instead of doing 3 hours a day creating videos, do you make 1 video a week and run it as an ad for a week?
That's
and you let that do the work for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
so like you could do like, say like you do, obviously you've done a couple of weddings and stuff like that. You literally take the money you might have charged for the editing budget and just think, fuck it, put all the editing budget that I've done for this video and just chuck it all onto ad spends for like people looking for weddings.
let's see if we can get 10 weddings at a rate 10% more than I charged for this one.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And then like you've made that the advertising budget back as well, haven't you? And then
That's the thing. That's like maybe something I need to look into a bit more, because
Yeah.
the only advertising I do is put in the content that I've shot out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it be reels or stuff like that. I don't actually physically spend money on advertising, if that makes sense.
I'm the same as that at the minute, but that's just because I haven't got the time. Like I am, that is going to be one of the things I'm probably going to look to do, because it's definitely powerful. And I feel like I'm preaching to people, well, if you run this as an ad, like then
Yeah.
maybe you'll get more business. Well, if you'd be stupid, like maybe to not do it for yourself.
Well, yeah,
wouldn't
because
you?
if you're spending say if you just spent £100 on an ad, at the time it might be like a lot of money to you, but if you just get one client from that, and you know, and you even charge them your minimum rate of like 300 quid, you still made, you know, £200.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, that's it. And like,
And if someone said to you, if someone said to you, put this bet on, it's 3-1, put £100 on, you get 3 times back, you'd be like, oh yeah, banging, do that. Because
Yeah.
you know obviously you're not going to guarantee that you're going to get a client, but you know,
for 100
might
quid,
see
mate,
it.
like if you spent 100 quid on ads and you niche down to, I don't know, business, construction, rugby, football, whatever, like you wanted to
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
you're probably going to reach like 10,000 people in an area which you want your video to go.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like that rugby tournament. If I posted one of them edits as an ad and was like, do you want us at your event? Do you know what I mean? Or
yeah, 100%.
we can make you more money at your event if you promote it this way,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be. So I don't know, something more catchy than that you'd come
Yeah,
up
yeah,
with.
yeah.
But you see like 10,000 people who are in that realm, like chances are they're like a few of them are going to query you for that £100, aren't they? And like you say, if you convert X amount of them, but you've already dwindled them down. Like
Yeah.
when if you phone 100 people, like that's time consuming.
Yeah, that might be daunting for some people as well, cold calling.
I've done a bit of this, like
I've never done cold call. I've done obviously the old cold email, blah blah blah. But like,
Yeah.
you don't know if half is going into spam.
I always think like as well, would I accept a cold email as like if someone I don't know, because maybe that's just like my small time thinking as well. I know you will convert 1 to 5 or whatever the statistic is % of these cold
Yeah.
emails. But like me, I always like to think if it's not going to actually convert me, I've struggled to see.
Why I'm wasting my time on trying to convert other people.
Yeah, I do think there is value in it, but it's really
Yeah.
time consuming, isn't it?
So yeah, it's quite interesting about like the ad spend and stuff like that. So before you head off, kind of what are your plans for the near future now going forward with the filmmaking and stuff like that, and also the podcast?
So basically, filmmaking, I'd like to just have a steady flow of customers, which will.
Is that your main source of income? Well, will that be your main and only source of income, or do you get any sort of income from the podcast, or not really? Or
Mate, like we may do like 1,000 views a week or whatever on the podcast, like per episode.
yeah,
I mean, for anyone starting out, I don't dishearten you, but that equates to like £10 a month
yeah,
on YouTube. Like it's
yeah, it's
nothing.
pocket money in it.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference at all. I mean, maybe if you get some sponsor, we'd like to maybe get a sponsor on board, because
Yeah, yeah.
I think 1,000 views to a sponsor it's worth something. It's
Yeah,
not,
it's worth something more than £10.
yeah, potentially, but I'm also not that fussed about it, because I don't want to. We want to just do what we want to do. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that's
I don't want to
fair.
have to bend to anything. I also don't want viewers to drop off because there's an ad.
Yeah.
Like they're already getting hit with YouTube ads. Like
Yeah, because you had quite a lot of ads. Well, I say not ads, but in your first podcast, you had quite a lot of like things down the bottom, like as a banner, didn't you?
yeah, it looks shit, doesn't it?
Well, you had to do what you had to do. But
Yeah.
so obviously you got the podcast. So the filmmaking will be your main source of income once obviously that notice is
Yeah,
done and dusted.
I may, depending on how it goes, like my brother's a plumber, my dad's a gardener, I can do some chimney sweeping. If I got to make money, I'm going to make money.
a
Like
day or
it.
two a week, innit?
Yeah.
Because I still do that now. I'm still part-time and I do 2 days a week, and then all the rest I just film my video stuff. And the 2 days a week covers all my overhead, so I don't have to worry about, you know, mortgage and paying
Yeah.
for food and stuff like that.
Exactly. Like the vision is obviously making videos, bit of a team. There's other things I want to do as well. Like me and Nick, my business partner, where the studio is, we've got like rooms which hairdressers use
Right,
and
okay,
all that
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of thing. We've got 2 shops at the minute,
Yeah.
one in Gilwan, one in Ebervale, and we're looking to get more eventually. So I don't know. We'll just see what happens with that. Like that's not mega money. It's just like,
No.
but it's money which we don't have to do a great deal for. It kind of runs
She's doing a
itself.
bit of entrepreneurship there as well, isn't he?
That's the plan, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to get yourself to a point where all your bills were covered
Yeah.
and everything you made was fun money, wasn't it? Like that's.
Yeah, exactly.
But then also, the main reason for leaving, I don't think it's going to happen straight away. Maybe a few years. but is I want to start to get to the point where I can earn money, but also have time. Like I want to spend more time with my little one. I haven't spent much time with her in the last couple of months because I've been flat out. And then also to pursue like the filming, the fighting, the podcasts and all that. I mean, all this is coming at a cost at the minute.
Of time with your little one, yeah.
And I want it to become where like everything's less stressful because I'm rushing from one place to another at the minute. Everything I'm doing seems to feel like I'm
No
cutting
time
everything
for anyone
fine.
else,
Yeah. Whereas I want to get to the space where like I can be relaxed, because when you're turning up to do something like this, you don't want to be stressed. You want to be in like a good headspace, don't you?
Yeah, you just want to be chilled, don't you? Just chat like shit, really.
Whereas I feel like I'm just like my brain's all over the place.
Because you got so much going on. Because the thing is, especially when you go to this world, no 2 days are the same, are they?
No, that's it. And there's an element of like, I handed my notice in, got a load of work, and then it like died off for a week or two. And I was like,
added pressure then, thinking, fuck, when's the next job coming in?
Yeah, then a couple comes in, you're on a high again, and it's like...
And I think people who are in like full-time employment, who have got a secure job, they don't realise maybe the stress of that, because you're always chasing it. Every hour you're sleeping or wasting time is technically time you could be chasing the next client or whatever.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Then you got to draw the line then, because obviously you got to spend time with your family. So it's like how do you operate it all? Do you know what I mean?
I know, it's touch and go, and were you you got a little one or anything? No.
I've got my first baby due in January.
Nice, congratulations, mate.
Thank you. Mrs. is pregnant now, so yeah, we'll hands on deck trying to get everything sorted for my little one to come.
I'll be banging, mate. Game changer, like, but that also gives you like another layer of focus. Do you know what I mean? Because you want to. It's not just for yourself anymore. Like,
well, yeah, I found that already. I think I got a little one on the way. I'm thinking like, right, I want to. Obviously, no one's ready. I think some people are ready, but no one's ready. You want to be financially stable, but no one's ever completely comfortable with their finances. For when a baby comes around. But I found myself in the last month or so, or couple of months, like trying to push more. But obviously, it comes to a detriment then of not spending time with your partner. So it's like, where do you draw the line? But then you're like trying to think, I'm doing this for you, so please see it that way. Like I'm trying to maybe stay up to like 12 o'clock at night emailing people, getting this edit done, or like, doing this because I want a better, life for, the kid. And
it's all a trade-off, and it's trying to find out where you want to position yourself within that. Do you want to have all this business, or do you want to have all this time? And maybe if you have all this time, maybe it's not going to be good time because not that you haven't got enough money, but
you can't maybe do the things that you want to do because you haven't got the money there to support you, but you've got the time, which at the end of the day, the thing that costs the most is time, isn't it?
100%. You only get it once, don't you? Like money will come and go, but you've got to have enough just to pay your bills and whatever. I mean, if you
you need to keep that roof over your head and feed, put food on the table. That's the main thing.
But like one note, like I think leaving my job, mate, I was sat there in an office. I was like planning jobs and then booking teams in to go out and do them. That was my day-to-day work, quoting jobs and stuff like that. And I could see like the progression from where I was at, like was pretty good monetary wise. I mean, like the day job I was on is like a 50 grand a year job.
Yeah.
And I could see like you could get to 60, 70, 80 in the next like 5-10 years. But I was also looking at them thinking like, this is just deeper into a trap of something I don't actually want to do.
Yeah.
So what's the point? Like, well, I'm coming up to 30 years old. I don't want to be bitter and twisted by the time I'm 40. Do you know what I mean? I want to be able to keep a bit of pop, enjoy it, and just have a good time, basically.
That's the thing. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, mate.
It's been good. Where can people find you if they want to check you out?
Instagram, personal one is @JoeRobbins1, and then real Media and Marketing on Instagram. And
then you got the Tanked Up podcast as well.
Yeah, I don't even know what the handle is, but just type in Tanked Up, but TANKD. We drop the E, and you can't go far wrong then.
And lastly, what do you think your end goals are going to be by the end of the year?
By the end of the year, mate, I'll either be broke on my arse or just steady workflow, happy life, mate. Bit fitter, hopefully.
And on that note, thank you for coming on.